Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of five, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C and Z up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's show, we are interviewing a man who has a plan to help you make your business more profitable. Now, there's a lot of other subjects we're going to get into today, but Mike Michalowicz started a podcast or a show specifically dedicated to helping entrepreneurs to increase their profitability. And I'm honored to have him back on the show here. Mike Michalowicz, welcome back onto the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's a joy to be with you, Clay. When you did the yes, it reminded me of Marv Albert. And I don't mean that in a derogatory fashion whatsoever. But I remember him in the 80s, he used to go, Iverson for 2, yes, every time he ripped the net.
Now, let me ask this here. For people out there that want to know, what's your website? Where can people learn more about you?
So the place to go to is gogetdifferent.com. That's my new book. It's called Get Different. And everything's up there, resources, info on me, gogetdifferent.com.
Okay, so gogetdifferent.com. You wrote this new book, but before we get into the new book, tell us about your old book. Tell us about the first book that you wrote that really took off.
Well, the first book didn't take off, but I pushed it so hard that it got momentum. It was called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. I wrote that because I was like, oh, I have this entrepreneurial epiphany. I need to share it. No publisher wanted it. I couldn't. The first day of sales, no one bought it, including my own mother, just to give you a little, yeah. But I also bought 20,000 copies, assuming I'd sell those out the first week. So I started to sell them by hook or crook. And because of that, it got momentum. I was pushing constantly and actually got traction and then got me a publishing deal. And I've been very lucky to be somewhat successful with my books ever since.
Now, I heard of you first through the Profit First book. That's the one where my listeners started telling me they had read that. Was that your second book or your third book?
No, Profit First was actually number 3, I think, in the list, or 4 now. It's actually, I've published 7 books, so I'm starting to get a little bit jumbled up. It was toward the beginning. Profit First was my breakthrough book, though. To me, it's like a band. They have your favorite band. No one's heard of them, and then they write Team Spirit or something like that. And all of a sudden, they're on the map. That was the book that put my work on the map for many entrepreneurs. Do
you consider yourself, if people have to ask what you do for a living, are you best-selling author? Are you entrepreneur? Are you investor? How do you describe what you do for a living?
The exact words I say, author guy. So I don't like the best-selling because everyone says they're best-selling. And so it's lost any meaning. And I don't think I've achieved the true definition of best-selling, which means you're on the Wall Street Journal bestseller or the New York Times bestseller permanently. You have a permanent presence. But so I don't really understand that category, how it's defined more. So when people say, what do you do? I say, I'm an author guy. And they say, what's that? I mean, well, I write business books. I'm a guy who writes business books for small business. That's how I qualify myself. I do own businesses too.
What businesses are you involved in? Just for people out there that don't know your voice or know your background, what other businesses are you involved in?
So I have 6 companies. I have one for my author business, speaking and writing. I have one that's a membership organization for accountants and bookkeepers. I have an augmented reality company that I'm a small equity owner in. I have licensees. So these are companies that I've started, but I have a phantom stake or positioning. So one that coaches run like clockwork. It's the process behind clockwork. Another book I wrote called The Pumpkin Plan. This company teaches organic growth. It's a different consulting firm. I have another one for Get Different, the new book we're talking about. I started a company for that. Maybe I'm missing a company. I consider myself a shareholder of small business. There's a president for each company. They all operate independently. I'm just blessed to be part of them and giving them some strategic direction.
Okay, so we could say you're entrepreneur, investor, book guy. What inspired you to write this new book here, Go Get Different?
Well, because predominantly I'm a speaker and an author, so I'm on stage a lot. COVID's changed that. It's gone virtual, but it's actually even easier. You can survey audiences, and the feedback has been very clear. When I ask people, what's your primary source of leads? They say client referral. And boastfully so, they're so proud, and I get it. But then I'm like, well, you're this is wonderful, but you're also at the whim of the customer to do marketing for you. In fact, They believe in your brand so much, they're carrying your business on their back. They're doing marketing for you. If you are offering something that's superior to the alternatives, you must market accordingly. And most businesses don't know how to do it. I wrote Get Different to get to the essence of effective marketing. This isn't a marketing plan. There's amazing books out there about marketing plans, marketing strategies. This is the essence of what makes marketing effective in those milliseconds of consideration.
So let's talk about it. What does Are you there?
But yeah, you totally cut out. I just went.
Oh, sorry. What does make effective marketing? If you have a product that really is mind blowing and people do love it, what's the best way to gain traction?
So no one knows about your product until they discover your product. And the only thing they know of you prior to that is marketing. So the experience with your business, regardless how remarkable you are, is your marketing. So what gets marketing attention? Different. And that's why the book is titled Get Different. What's interesting is I've studied how our brain consumes information, and it only allows in three significant things. There's this gatekeeper called the reticular formation, it's blocking out information, but allows through threats. If someone pulls out a gun, you'll pay attention. Not good marketing. It also acknowledges known opportunities. So when someone drops a wad of money on the table, it opens up our mind and we consider it. Now, that's not necessarily good marketing either. We've seen that before where people mail out like a $10 bill taped into an envelope and it says, please fill out the survey or do something. We take the $10 bill, but do we respond? The only other way into the brain, and it actually lights up the whole brain, is the unexpected. When something unknown, unexpected presents itself, we have to qualify it because now our brain is saying, is this an opportunity? Is this a threat? Is this something I can ignore in the future? So first stage is you must be different and the customer has to pay attention to you. One problem is it lasts for about 1/10 of a second. So then you got to move on to the next stage like that.
So let's just say you're sitting together with a plumber today, okay? And a plumber reached out to you, wanted to become a consulting client. Let's say you had an availability. The guy says, I do great service. I've been in business for 30 years. Because entrepreneurs, if you sit down with them and you say, what makes you different? They've got 3 moves they like to say. They go, well, I've been in business for 30 years.
Yeah.
2 is they go, I do quality, high quality. And then, people trust me. That's kind of like, they always have some variation of that.
Yeah, totally.
How can you help a plumber break? How does your new book, go get different.com, your new book, Get Different. How would that help a plumber break out of the closet?
Totally. Get different does not mean get outrageous. So you could do something like Geek Squad. This is just one consideration. Geek Squad was in the computer industry. They dress differently. I had a computer company wearing my suit. They were showing up as geeks, flood pants, and so forth. That was so remarkable. It was a discussion, and they are now at a $1 billion valuation after a merger with Best Buy. So just the way you dress, don't dress like a plumber is tip number 1. But that may be too outrageous for you. One simple method is to simply do what no one else does. Different means don't do the common. So if I'm serving someone's home, why not have a handwritten letter or some kind of brochure that says, I'm serving the home, your neighbor, so-and-so, and I'm in the area with some regularity. If you ever want service, I'm the best plumber in the neighborhood, and put it in people's mailboxes. The thing is, that may be a common practice with like lawn people, but do plumbers do that? And if they don't, it is different enough that I'll garner attention. Just don't do what everyone else does. That's the key to effective marketing.
I'm going to beat you up on this a little bit because I want to help a few of our listeners out there specifically because I know that your book has 50 moves in it. I just want to hammer home on 3 here. If I'm a dentist, okay, you're sitting down with a dentist. He's a great guy. Again, you say, what makes you different? And he says, well, I've been in business 22 years, professional, and I do high quality work. How would you help a dentist break out of the clutter?
Yeah, so I'd immediately avoid the common. I look at and evaluate the common, but miles of smiles and all those things. I would not send the birthday card that says, "Hey, your birthday's coming up. Happy birthday from your dentist," because everyone does that. Plus, it's also manipulative. You don't really care about my birthday. You care about getting more business in the door. Why not have like an anniversary? The last time you came in for a filling was 10 years ago. Do you know most people don't last that long or something? Congratulations, you've passed this test. Happy anniversary or something like that. That is different enough that it'll get noticed. Another thing you can do too is go after a niche community. Who are your best customers? Maybe they're athletes. And so now maybe they're athletes that are in high school. Why not talk to the high school coach and say, hey, can I come in when the parents are there? And we can talk about preventive dental care. And I'll give you some tips on the mouthpieces to wear and stuff to protect your teeth. Now you start becoming a niche expert. And that's a form of marketing. You're recognized, you're showing yourself an authority. You're not pushing for the sale, but everyone's aware of you. And guess who they're going to go to when they have a problem?
So move number one, we must be different. We got to stand out. We got to be different.
Have to.
What's there's so many moves in your new book, get different, but just walk us through what are two more moves? All
right, two more. Next move is be attractive. So different alone doesn't work. Like for this interview, I could have said, hey, Clay, I'm going to dress like a clown. That is different and perhaps different from all your other guests, which guarantees attention. But is it attractive? No. Clowns are murderers, in fact, actually is not attractive whatsoever. It must speak to the audience. So different for different sake is not adequate. It must be different, but it must be attractive. And attractive means speak the language of the community you're serving. Speak to their needs and interests. Educate them, entertain them. But they have to say, wow, this message is for me. And as strong as you have it say, yes, it's for me, you're gonna have another community that says, this is not for me. It does cause that polarization of communities. You aren't attractive enough until you see that polarization. Sadly, most people in marketing say, I'm just gonna have a message that anyone can absorb, which means no one's rallying.
I wanna interject this real quick. When I'm not doing my show, I do this thing called reverse networking. This is a move I do. This is not in your book, but nor should it be in your book, by the way. I call it reverse networking. So people will see me. I always wear a hoodie, like a Bill Belichick style hoodie. I
love it.
That I have worn out, bro. I mean, this thing has been, the sleeves are worn out. I've got a hat that time forgot. I mean, I've worn this hat probably 4 years. I mean, it's beat up. I'll wear some jeans I've had for probably 4 or 5 years. I do wear some Yeezys, but other than that, nothing I'm wearing is nice. And what happens is you go into a furniture store, Mike, and nobody says, sir, can I help you? If you're in line, no one introduces people who think they know you are like, that's not him. So, but I'm intentionally kind of dressing in that.
Yeah, the repelling factor.
I'm repelling people. But the thing that scares me is when I meet a great entrepreneur who's repelling people because they think what they're doing is attractive when in fact it is detracting. It is shoving their ideal and likely buyers away. Give us some examples of what you shouldn't do if you're trying to be attractive to your ideal and likely buyers.
Inauthenticity, and these words circulate so much, but it's true. If you do something that's not consistent with you, even if it attracts people in the moment, when they have the experience with you, if there's an inconsistency, that will actually crush them. You've seen this on Zoom meetings, right? I was in a Zoom meeting this morning with these people I had met before. I'm like, wow, that person's pretty young to be in this meeting. They look amazing. And they popped on their camera and I was like, oh my God, what happened to you? You just aged 50 years.
Whoa.
Oh, you were being inauthentic. You threw your favorite picture of yourself up when you were prepubescent, but look at how you look today. That is inauthenticity and it actually causes a disconnect. We have a responsibility to market that's true to our brand, true to ourselves, because the only experience people have with us is the experience of marketing until they experience our business. So listen, if your business is the hoodie business, be the hoodie guy in your marketing. But if your business presents itself as ultra professional, your marketing better be consistent with that too.
I love this. I want to point this out because this is so funny. Our clients with 160 clients, they know me. They're like, this guy rocks a hoodie. This guy, I'm just telling you, folks, I have 160 clients, and unlike Mr. Mike Michalowicz, I'm kind of good in the growth game. Mike is probably going to eat the world before it's all said and done. This guy's growing and growing. No, I'm serious. You've sold hundreds of thousands of books. You're growing. And my wife and I, we sat back years ago and we were like, I think 160 clients is about all I want to get to. I think I'm kind of, and because every time I dress sharp and I do the show, if I wear this, people go, you're the guy from the show. You're the guy. Yeah. And people, I'm just telling you folks, if for a pro tip for how to repel business, don't dress sharp and dress inconsistent of how you dress on camera. That'll trip people up. All right.
Let me say this. 160 clients is amazing. I'll tell you, one client's amazing if that's what we desire. I know some business owners, and I was one for a long time. It's all about grow at all costs because growth means success. Growth means significance. That is not true. I think the right size business can find us and the way we serve can find us. I'm very impressed by any business where the business owner says, I'm doing what I'm called to be doing through this business. I'm living a lifestyle that I've desired to live all my life. I'm able to contribute to my community the way I wanted to contribute. If we're doing that, honestly, I don't think size matters. Comfort matters.
You found a way to scale a lifestyle that you love. That's the one thing I really do love about what you've done. You reach many, when you write a book, people maybe don't understand this. You can reach millions and millions of people with a book, and you've already had a successful business and you found a way to scale that out. Of all the things you do, speaking, writing, podcast, owning your own companies, what do you enjoy the most, or do you enjoy aspects of all four?
Oh, writing books. I love it. I mean,
Really?
I love aspects of speaking. It's fun to get like mini celebrity ship for 10 seconds when you're on stage, but writing books, when I can deliver something and get a feedback from someone that I've never met in my life saying, this has changed my life, that it gives me goosebumps every single time. That's the ultimate privilege.
So writing books is your highlight.
Hands down. Yeah.
So let's list off a few of your books real quick, and then we'll get back into your newest book here. So you've got Profit First, which I think most entrepreneurs that I know have that book. I mean, that's what. And then what's your second most popular book, or maybe popular book?
Yeah. So my most popular is Profit First. My second most popular is called The Pumpkin Plan. And what I did was I studied a pathway to organic, healthy success, and I took strategies from pumpkin farmers. Probably my third most popular is Clockwork. It's all about business efficiency. It actually achieves. It's kind of like a band. Your record gets a certain status. You get like silver or platinum album. Well, and for authors, when you get invited by the publisher to do a revised and expanded edition, it means it's achieved something. So it's just now turning into a revised and expanded edition. So
what's your next book? You said what's the next?
And then I was gonna say, and Get Different. It's one I just launched, but there's been such aggressive demand for this book that we're talking about, the marketing. That's right now, it's kind of in fourth place, even though it's my brand new book.
Got it. Okay. Now we're going back to your new book, Get Different: Marketing That Can't Be Ignored. Super move number one. You want to be different, not in a weird way, in a way that stands out. Two, want to be attractive to your ideal and likely buyers in a consistent way. What's a third move taught in your new book, Get Different: Marketing That Can't Be Ignored?
Probably the most important, and people look right over this. You got to direct the customer to do something. This is the call to action, but here's the key. It needs to be reasonable and move them expeditiously toward your final transaction. So the worst thing to do is to say, like, I have a website, I do consulting. Hey, put down $100,000 deposit. I'll elevate your business. Like, who are you? It's too absurd. It's not reasonable. But on the flip side, you go to some websites and it says, this is my consulting site. Click on this button to learn more. The whole reason I went to the website was to learn more. Don't do that. Move the client reasonably, but expeditiously toward the final transaction. Perhaps let's do a free first hour consult, free on me, for your email and your phone number. And then after that happens, you move them closer and closer. Direct.
If people want to buy stuff from you, what are all the services that people can buy from you? Do you do consulting, book writing, speaking? What are all the different ways you can help our listeners?
Yeah. So me personally, books, that's my key thing. I also am a keynoter. So I do speaking events. I do have a service. So I don't do any consulting personally. There's extreme circumstances. People will go to extraordinary efforts to work with me personally. It's a rarity, but I will do it in extraordinary circumstances. But for the services behind my books, to know if you read a book and you're doing it right, each book has a service company that I own. I don't run it, that I own, that helps in making sure you're doing it right.
Got it. Now we've got, a lot of our shows will have, it's very interesting how shows work. Sometimes I do a show and you'll have 1 million people that will literally download a show and you're going, whoa. And sometimes it's guest driven. I mean, sometimes we'll have, Damon John on the show or Wolfgang Puck and 100,000 downloads. Then there's other shows where I feel like they're great shows. And I'm going, there's 1,000 downloads of what I perceive to be my favorite show of all time. So there's kind of a randomness to it a little bit. But let's just say you're listening to our, million listeners that listen a week between all the platforms. What's the message you want to communicate? What's the one thing you want to get out there to our listeners?
If you own a small business, or if you're an employee in a small business, the world is starving to discover you. Businesses, inevitably, small business is better than big business. More care for their customers, faster response times, more integrated in the work they do. The world is starving to discover you. You must market accordingly. That's the message I want you to take from today's interview.
Now, okay, let's say a little bonus fry here. Idiosyncrasies. You're a man who last time I saw you did not have a massive beard.
That's my idiosyncrasy.
Your beard has now moved into the. I mean, last time I saw you, I don't think you had a beard.
I was actually chinless too. It was like half a face.
If you were, so you've been kind of committed for the beard here for a while. That could be considered an idiosyncrasy. It's no longer I mean, look, even on your author page here, it's a little longer, but this is getting pretty healthy right here. Yeah. Is there an idiosyncrasy or kind of a superpower which you believe that God's given you, like a gift that's allowed you to have success? Maybe just a superpower, unique idiosyncrasy. Do you get the power from the beard, or what's
I do try to channel the beard, but it seems to channel food collection. So maybe that's a talent. There's chips in here from a couple of weeks ago. I think the best talent I have is taking complex ideas and making them simple. So that's the tagline, if you will, for my business, is entrepreneurship simplified, to really boil it down to the essence of what's effective.
Now, your website right now is gogetdifferent.com. Gogetdifferent.com, folks. I encourage you to purchase a copy of the book today. Go Get Different. I can tell you the book Profit First. And again, I know this isn't about Profit First. I'm just telling people a real
love it. I love it.
Many of my listeners, I would say of our 160 clients, without my recommendation, previous to my recommendation, I would say 50 of my 160 clients own your book.
I love it.
And those are serious entrepreneurs. I mean,
I love
your book is sort of like, for an entrepreneur, people say, what are the must-have books for an entrepreneur? I always say, if you don't have Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, you got to get that. Got to get Think and Grow Rich, find Napoleon Hill. You got to How to Win Friends and Influence People. People say, oh, this
Dale Carnegie.
I'm just giving you the books. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. That's a great book, assuming that you have people to lead and you've built a team. Winning by Jack Welch is a phenomenal book. I love these are all like the must-haves. And in that book, in that list of books you have to have, I really do believe Profit First is in that.
Oh, I'm honored.
I mean, really, it's the book you got to have on the shelf. It's so practical. It will help you financially if you're in a spot where you're very busy, but you don't have any profits. That's a problem, and a common problem. In the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, that book really does solve the problem. And I want our listeners to know, I'm not just saying this. How I met you initially is a lot of our listeners said, Clay, you need to be on Mike's show, Profit First. And so I was on your show. Yeah. And then many of your listeners were like, well, Clay, you need to get, Mike on your show. And so we've hit that. And this is a sincere, organic connection. I'm telling you folks, if you like the Thrive Time show, you got to listen to Mike Michalowicz. Now, where can people hear your podcast or your ongoing shows?
Yeah. So it's on Apple. I renamed it to Mike Up in Your Business. I moved to really more intimate interviews, really digging deep into people's life's journey and how it applies to entrepreneurship. So it's called Mike Up in Your Business. Oof. It's on all the podcasts. The most popular is Apple, but wherever you want to look for your podcast.
Brother, I appreciate you so much for being here. And
appreciate you, man.
Can't wait to talk to you again soon. Take care, brother.
Hey, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Thrive Time Show, 2-day interactive business workshops, are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.